Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Real Disability, where we analyze representation of disability in the media by interviewing students on UW-Madison's campus. We hope you enjoy. Alright, so go ahead and introduce yourself for us, please.
So my name is Jasper. I use they, them, or ze, them with an X pronouns. I'm a senior at UW-Madison. I'm studying English creative writing and Spanish with a certificate in Chicana Latina Studies, and I work as a peer advisor for CCAS.
Great,
Awesome.
thank you. Do you want to ask the first question?
Yeah. So what is your experience with disability? Like, what do you know about it? And is there any personal experience, etc.?
Well, I use a cane, and this started. I started using it my sophomore year of college, I think. So my main experience of it is becoming disabled relatively recently, but I also have like my mom has like asthma and fibromyalgia, and I have a lot of friends who have like various things, whether like mental, sort of like autism, ADHD, dyslexia, OCD, and then also things like diabetes, Crohn's, yeah, so very much a part of my life.
That's good to know. And how has disability representation in media generally, or of your of your certain disability identities, affected your lived experience?
I think it kind of. I was very averse to the concept of it for a long time. I think because of the way it's represented, like I'm also, as well as like being a cane user, I'm also autistic. So like I distinctly remember kind of being very like ableist, sanist about it when I was younger, because at one point in time, like my father watched Family Guy, so I watched Family Guy, and it's not they're not very nice to autistic people on shows like that, and so I think kind of like things like that were like I didn't really feel comfortable claiming it, because it was like all the representations were like quote unquote severe, so it's like I'm like, oh, you know, like I'm fine, I cope, but then it's like I think social media was helpful for me, like finding like groups of similar people talking about their lived experience and being like, oh wait, maybe this is like a real thing that I could both be and like find support for. Yeah.
Sure, thank you.
Have you noticed media representations of disability influence the UW-Madison campus and like your experience as a student here, and how has that impacted your daily life?
I'm not totally sure if I have like specific observations with like the UW campus. I think it's definitely like it kind of becoming more aware of like different aspects of disability experience make me more aware of how like ableist the campus is, like not even just socially, like physically, like there are so many buildings where it's like, oh cool, so the ramp like exists, but it's like terrible, it's like all the way out of the way, or it's like the elevators are always broken or not going to the right places, or it's like, you know, the professor, like they're not recording their lectures. It's like I think for me, it kind of just makes me wish it was better here. Yeah.
That's so fair. Yeah, that's so fair. And then to you, what is the most important aspect to be improved regarding disability representation in media? Like what would you like to see, happen in media to make it better?
Yeah, I think like there's a lot to be said about like sort of people like doing their due diligence in research. Like I wish like with like the shows or movies that I had seen previously that they would have been talking to like people with the disability and not just like, I don't know, maybe talking to like a doctor or like looking at a dictionary. Like I think like representing any like marginalized identity, it's like it's important to actually be hearing from the people, and hopefully like when it comes to like shows and stuff, like they would actually be played by like disabled actors who deserve to have money to live and like work. Yeah.
Oh, for sure, thank you.
What stereotypes in media, if any, have affected you, and how have they affected you? And then if you have any specific examples you want to add to it.
Like you mentioned Family Guy before.
Yeah.
Like Family Guy again, or are there any other pieces of media that come to mind?
Yeah, I mean, the thing in Family Guy was sort of like, I think there was an autistic character that was like also a wheelchair user, and she was kind of just like in her chair, kind of like, I don't know how to describe it, like sort of like waving around in her chair, like her whole body, and like vocalizing, and that was kind of like, and the joke was that like Peter was scared of it, and it was kind of just like, okay, so it's like not every autistic person is going to be like stimming like so visibly. Not every autistic person is going to be like unable to like speak or like kind of only able to just like do these vocalizations, and I think that kind of goes to like the like social media thing where like that like realizing that like autistic experience is a spectrum and there are so many different types of people. Like if autistic people, like if none of them could talk, then I guess I'm not autistic. But like there are so many different things. I'm trying to think if there are others, but yeah, that's kind of the big one for me in my mind. Very, very formative, because I remember sort of like referencing it, and my sister was like, "What?" And that kind of made me challenge that idea.
For sure, thank you. And then lastly, what pieces of media do you think are really good representations of disability, and why? Like, is there like a piece of media that you've watched like in your childhood or recently that kind of like you saw and was like, oh yeah, this is like a good, piece of representation of disability?
Yeah. I have to think about that.
It's okay not to. You can take
And
time to
like
think
adding
about it.
on to that, like it could be like a certain Instagram account or
Yeah.
TikToker or like
or like a
any type,
YouTuber, or
any
movie,
type
TV
of
show,
Yeah.
reality TV show, podcast.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like most of my like exposure to disabled people like is on sort of social media. So like people like Jessica Kelgren-Fozard, she's a YouTuber, and she talks about like her experience being like physically disabled and deaf and having ADHD, and also being a lesbian, like raising a child. She's got a lot of identities going on. Also, Wonder Nova Curious is a deaf and physically disabled actor who is non-speaking. So like they're kind of one of the people that I was thinking about with like actually employing disabled actors. Like they're real, they're out here. I also like, I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Nina Tame, Tame, or Tame or something. She's a wheelchair user and a mom, and she posts a lot of like good, both like informational and like comedic reels and stuff. I also like Sunny Jane Wise, aka Lived Experience Educator, who kind of talks about the like neurodiversity paradigm versus the like pathology paradigm, where like their kind of like thesis is that like disorder can't coexist with like neurodivergence as like a political thing, and it's very interesting. And like one of the things that they said at one point was like, ACAB includes therapists, and I was like, whoa, I have to sit with this for a moment. Yeah.
For sure, thank you. Yeah, and is there anything else you wanted to comment on today regarding disability in media? Any other thoughts that you have?
More of it. I also think more of the history should be covered, because I didn't know about like Judy Heumann and like kind of people in like the I think it was like the crawl on Washington or something. I don't remember if that was the name, but like sort of the early like disabled civil rights movement, I think like isn't really talked about enough, and I only knew about it because of that would go to the third question, the UW-Madison campus, because there was a Disability Cultural Center X Center for Cultural Enrichment event where we watched I can't remember the name of it, but the documentary that's about I think it's called Crip Camp.
Crip Camp, yeah.
Yeah. We watched Crip Camp, and it was very enlightening, because I was like, I did not know any of this, and I feel, fake disabled. A joke. That was a joke, but yeah.
For sure. Well, thank you for interviewing with us today.
Thank you
We
so
really
much.
appreciate it.
Yeah, happy to help.
Well, that wraps things up today. Thank you all so much for listening to Real Disability. We hope you learned more about disability in the media. See you next time!